So my roommate and I, both in the spring of freshman year, had a guy down the hall who used to always come back with these dirty cleats, and we didn't know what he was doing. So we decided we'd play rugby, and we were very competitive. So the first problem we had was finding the field, and that took about a week. But we made it, and my first practice, I get the ball, and it was supposed to be soft hitting, and so I got tossed the ball. It was my first time ever touching a rugby ball, and I was fully concussed. I woke up on my back, no idea what happened, and a few plays later, the kid who had hit me had the ball. He was coming, and I just gave him everything and hit him. And the Coach Tom blew the whistle, started clapping. And I went from the most embarrassing moment to being like, wow, this is pretty cool, this is fun. So that was my intro to rugby.
I think we felt really comfortable. I mean, I remember we had an activities fair that kind of everybody signed up for, and they said, all right, everybody come back in about 2 or 3 hours. Come back at like 6 o'clock, we're gonna go for a little run. All right. So we went on a little run to the beach. It's about 3 miles from Fairfield U to the beach, and we were greeted with a nice keg sitting there with tapped ready to go. And we were very, introduced to the whole drink up scene very quickly, and kind of hooked ever since there.
That same activities fair, I remember going to the table to sign up, and there was a guy that later would learn nicknamed Daddy. And as I'm signing up, he goes, "Are you ready to sign your life away?" And immediately I was like, okay, here we go. Signed up. If I knew I had to push Daddy's butt in the scrum for the next 3 years, I probably would have reconsidered that decision, but happy I went away with it.
I mean, I met Mike Kozik at a random beach party. Pretty much got the whole vetting, and my D1 athlete, and obviously no. My scholarships didn't conflict with playing rugby, and that was it. Showed up. And I remember playing football in practice because there wasn't enough of us at certain times. So it was a good time.
In 2009, we actually went to the Northeast Championships. We played at West Point. So we beat Brown in the regional finals, and then we played Coast Guard. We ended up losing to Coast Guard, and if we had beat Coast Guard, we would have gone to nationals. I don't remember the overall record. Do you remember what?
It was a 7-1 regular season. We had one heartbreaker against Sacred Heart.
Sacred Heart.
I can't believe you lost to Sacred Heart. Start with Tom.
For us, Tom was an awesome guy, just real rugby knowledge. A lot of us, like we said earlier, were coming into the sport having no knowledge of rugby whatsoever. So having the coach organize practices and being there for the game really helped us get some kind of organization going throughout everything. And Tom was always a great guy. He'd give you that pat on the back and say, okay, keep going.
Yeah.
So that was
He was for all of us was the introduction to rugby, and not only rugby but also Fairfield tradition, and obviously keeping that stuff alive is important to all of us. And once we brought in Matt, it was really Matt understood our traditions but wanted to make us a better club. And I think it was kind of the combination of the fact that he knew what we wanted to keep alive, but also wanted to push us kind of beyond that. And but Coach Tom was kind of our coach, I think.
I always like to say Coach Tom taught me to love the game. Showed up to practice covered in paint. Before every game, it was always, all right, guys, let's go out there and just have some fun. Intensity picked up a little bit more with Coach Matt, but having the benefit of getting the traditions and the love of the game from Tom was a huge benefit.
Tom really set the foundation, and I think that we took that natural step to the second level with Coach Leonard. And Coach Matt was a little different in style, but I think we needed that, kind of a kick in the butt, and it pushed us to the next level.
He would play harder than most of us in practice.
I know, he would scrimmage with us, and he was scary.
Yeah, intense guy. I remember one of the first practices, he took the ball and he was trying to show us how we weren't being as tough as we should into the tackles, and he said, he circled up around him, he said, all right, everyone, come after me. Next thing you know, there's 3 guys laying on the ground, one got poked in the eye, another got stomped out, and Coach Leonard is standing there with the ball, and we're all like, what's going on here?
I think we had more because of Burge coaching them. I think Jeff and I can probably attest to the years when we weren't very close with them. And then once Ryan Burge took over the team, I think he became more of a cohesive unit. And the women showed a lot of support for our team, and I think all of us can attest to them coming to our games and vice versa. So I think that was...
Right. And they became an integral part of the drink-ups, too,
Yep.
as the years went on. At first, there was really no connection. I guess it had dissipated, but as Ryan Burge came back, he really put the two teams together, and there was a lot more cohesiveness after that.
I'll never forget when I first started, the girls would play, they were playing duck, duck, goose as we were trying to get the crap out of each other. And we were like, what are these girls even doing? But, they definitely have been incredibly successul. And
Now they're undefeated.
Now they're
amazing.
They're a team to be reckoned with. And, a lot of respect is due for that. And, they're a tough group of girls. I think it's just a brotherhood. I think it's the best way to define it. It doesn't matter where you go in the world or where you go for work, whatever. If you find a rugby guy, there's an instant connection. And if you play Fairfield rugby, it's enhanced even more so. You're all coming together. You have similar memories, similar traditions. You have this similar experience on the field where you've all been kind of beaten up and ready to quit, but you keep plugging. And I think it's just a brotherhood. It just brings people together.
Yeah, I have my rugby friends, and then I have my friends and my rugby friends, and they do overlap, but at the same time, it's the same way. Sometimes some of us haven't seen each other in a really long time, but there's so many stories and so many things that happen to all of us, and college is such a crazy time. We all experience so much, and between getting in trouble, getting out of trouble, figuring things out, we really learned a lot and grew a lot, I think, as a team. And whenever we go back and look at each other, that's something you remember. I have my friends, and there's always that group of guys that I played rugby with. And I don't even, like you said, it's kind of a brotherhood. I have my friends, and then there's the guys I played rugby with, and they're always there, and it's an important bond.
To Jeff's point about not seeing everybody all the time, it's very easy to call up one of the rugby guys and all of a sudden you're back together, you haven't seen each other in a couple of years, and everything's back to normal. And having that bond and that camaraderie is really special.
Yeah, we bleed together. So, it's an interesting bond. You have to be willing and able in the beginning, but once you actually play the game and you work together as a team, I don't think that bond is ever broken.
I'd say thank you for getting it started. It's been probably one of the greatest experiences in my life. So to that point on what I'd like ourselves as alumni and friends of Fairfield Rugby to do is keep it going so that other people can have the same experiences that we did.
Thanks for throwing the ball backwards. It's such a crazy sport. It's something a lot of people aren't introduced to until you're kind of trial by fire. And if it wasn't for those pioneers, I would have never learned about the sport. And it's been really important to me. I traveled all around Europe. I was always able to start up a conversation. Oh, you played? Where'd you play? Where'd you play? Okay. No matter what, it's something that you'll have with you, and can always have with you. And there's a room full of guys over there that'll attest to that. And it's definitely special.
Definitely the best thing I did in college. And I guess to the 63 team, or alumnus, big thank you. It's laid a solid foundation. I think it's alive and well today, and I think we can attest to that. I think all the other graduating classes can attest to that.
It's definitely the best mistake of my life.
I think ultimately we want to keep this going and have future classes, follow in our footsteps in the class of 63 and beyond. And we want to keep this rolling, and whatever it takes.
I missed the daddy mobile.
Okay. I always loved the relationship with alumni and just being part of the team, having guys coming back to the school and respecting tradition, respecting the whole relationship you have with the team and being part. You could be a senior and you're this big guy on campus, but a guy who graduated 5 years comes back and all of a sudden he's making you drink a pitcher in the bathroom with a grape, So, and that's something I think that needs to keep going, that respect for not just your elders, but people who've done this before and they'll keep doing it. And so remembering your role in a bigger system is definitely something that was important.
Flounder,
Pickles,
Pinto,
Princess. Oh, the best was Pickles.
Pickles.
Pickles got a concussion at the Beast of the East tournament, and the medics came up to us and they're like, what's his name? And everyone just goes, Pickles. We've been
No
calling
idea
him
what his
Pickles
name
for
was.
so long, we couldn't remember his name right off the top of our head. But
It's a regional
Regional
tournament.
tournament. There's about 50 PCs. It's in Rhode Island every year, and there's about 50 teams, guys and girls, and they compete. There's Division 1, 2s, and 3, and it's probably one of the best tournaments we've gone to. Really good competition. We've seen everybody from the schools up in upstate, like New Hampshire and upstate New York, to
Colby, Maine.
Philadelphia, Maine. We played Maine Orono. We played
Army.
Columbia. We played Army was there. So really, really good competition, and a good experience because you get that camaraderie of a bunch of rugby teams coming together. And it's a great tournament. They host it every year. I think URI is the host team, and they do a great job with it. You play about 2 games. I think you play 2 games on the first day, and if you win both games, you progress to Sunday, and that's kind of the championship game, and you play until you lose at that point.
Rhode Island does have drive-through beer distributors.
It's a good networking opportunity too. I think where people that play during the off season and play in men's leagues, occasionally you'll find folks that you can meet with. I know Dara did that. We knew the 8-man on Colby one year. It's a great networking opportunity because a lot of different regional teams pull together.
Hopefully they're still shooting the boot at Fairfield Rugby.
Keep the tradition.
Yeah, never let it
Tradition
die,
alive.
ever.